Hi, welcome to BariNation, where we support the bariatric community with humor, humility, and honesty.
You've just tuned into a podcast that welcomes you into a community, a resource center, and a safe place that powers your journey towards personal wellness.
Our goal is you leave us today feeling hopeful, inspired, and ready to live your best bariatric life.
Hey, BariNation, it's April. Welcome to the very first episode of a new series that we're calling BariNation Stories. We have amazing members who every single day work through a struggle or a question or a setback that they're experiencing in the BariNation support community. So today, you're going to hear a conversation that's hosted by Natalie Tierney, long-term member and host in the community, Herb Lentz, and Chris D. Chris became a member of BariNation right as she was starting her bariatric journey. She's attended our Beginner Bariatric Meetups almost weekly. And in today's episode, she's going to share how the community helped her through her first year and really beyond. I think that as you're listening, you're going to be nodding your head in agreement. You're going to be laughing out loud like I was, and you're going to really hear and see your own story in the one that Chris is going to share. The heart of BariNation is our support community. It is that safe place that we can connect with other patients, we can learn from experts, and we can really understand what this lifelong bariatric journey is going to be all about. The podcast is wonderful. Our social media support and education is great. But when we go the extra step, we join a community like BariNation and we tap into support. We reconnect with that hope that we all felt the moment we made the decision to undergo bariatric surgery. And that hope is rekindled each and every day in the BariNation membership community. So sit back and enjoy this conversation where Chris is going to explain just how impactful our beginner bariatric meetups have been, not only on her bariatric journey, but on her life as a person. All right, friends, let's dive in.
Welcome, BariNation. Today we are so excited to have Herb and Chris with us to really discuss BariNation. We talk about it all the time. We talk about our membership community and the impacts that we are constantly making. But we don't really ever dive really deep into what that means. So thank you, Herb and Chris, for joining me today to just kind of share our stories and our perspectives about the magic that happens in the BariNation support community. Chris, I'll have you introduce yourself, and then Herb will have you introduce yourself, and then we'll get started.
Sure. Hi, guys. I'm Chris. I have been a BariNation member for almost a year now. I joined about 6 weeks after my bariatric surgery, and I'm coming up on a year on that also. So, yeah, it's been a joy, and I'm excited to talk about it tonight.
Awesome.
Hey, y'all. I'm Herb. I've been a BariNation member for a goodly while. I don't remember when, a while. I've been around a while. I've been a bariatric patient for almost 4 years, though, and I am so very fortunate to be able to host Beginner Bariatrics in BariNation peer-led meetups to talk with folks like Chris and others who are pre-surgery, just newly out of surgery, those who are a little farther along even. It's really a joy to be able to chat with all those folks.
It is. It really is a joy. I was just telling April before we logged in to record that the magic that is happening in BariNation right now is palpable. We're having a lot of really great discussions and supporting each other all along the way. So really excited to hear more about Chris's story and just share about beginner bariatrics in general. Chris, would you mind sharing a little bit? What was your why? We talk a lot about whys and why we have surgery in the BariNation support community. What was your why? What brought you to surgery?
Sure. So I really have been overweight my whole life and always very aware of how much space I was taking up. And I'm sure you guys can relate to that. And whether, I'd fit in a seat or did I want to go to the concert? Did I want to travel? All those kind of things. And how would I participate or not participate in a certain experience? And it was definitely exhausting, but it was just kind of my normal. But the turning point really came in spring of last year, so 2024. My sister, her husband, and their 3 kids came to visit. And I'm in Texas, and they're on the East Coast, so they took their spring break trip out to visit me. And I was really on the sideline for most of it. I was just not able to participate like I wanted to. And it was killing me. And I really was having a hard time with it, but trying to, be the host and all that good stuff. And separately, about a year earlier, someone in my circle had bariatric surgery and been very successful. And up until that point, I knew it was a thing that existed, but it never felt real or something that was approachable, attainable, all that good stuff. And at some point during that trip, my sister and I were in the car or something, and she just really gently and really non-judgmentally said, "Hey, Chris, if this is something, I noticed you're not able to participate like you want to. If this is something you want to pursue, if this is a path you want to go down, I'm willing to be your support. Like, I will come down and help you recover, whatever you need. Not saying you have to, but like, just did it exactly the way, you'd hope a good sister would, like, if this is what you want, I'm here for you. If it's not, that's okay too." And that almost just kind of gave me permission to think like, oh, this is a thing that I could do. It's something I had secretly been thinking about, but never really brought to the forefront. So I really appreciated her just having that conversation. And then it's funny because I opened up to a friend at work when I got back, just saying, "Hey, I think this is something I want to do." And she was like, "Oh yeah, I did that a few years ago." And it's amazing. I don't know if you guys have had that experience. You start talking about it and then you're like, oh, this is like a well-known thing, or like not well-known, but people are doing this. And I just had such a stroke of luck, actually, that she was like, yeah, she used Dr. Crivens, who obviously works with you guys very closely, and anybody who's been around BariNation has heard from him, talked to him, etc. And I just had that total stroke of luck that she was like, "Oh, I've got the perfect person for you. Let me give you his name." And then really from there, it was beyond rapid. It was about a month from consultation to operation. So, I mean, everything fell in line, and it was really just, it had been in my head for a while, but my sister came forward and was like, "I'll support you if this is what you want to do." And I've been so lucky to have her. And then obviously Dr. Crivens is affiliated with you guys. So just by following him, I fell in with you guys as well, which has been amazing throughout the whole process. So it just felt like everything aligned the way it was supposed to. Yeah.
I love that so much. Sometimes we just have to be willing to receive, right, the signs and the timing, and just say yes to it. I love that you did that.
Yeah.
For those of you listening to, you may not have been able to see the magic that just happened, which happens all the time in beginner bariatric meetups. Chris said something, and Nat and I both nodded along. Sometimes that thing that we're just so scared to talk about, like, other people have that same experience, right? And we think we're just so alone and so solitary in that experience. And so often in these beginner bariatric meetups, when we speak this thing out loud that we might be scared of or apprehensive about, and then the entire screen is like, "Oh yeah, totally been there, totally done that."
That's the best feeling ever.
It is. My favorite's when like all the reactions start to go, like the hearts and the celebrations. It's like, yes, we get it, right? Every time people say, "Oh, does that make sense?" We're all like bobbleheads. Yes, makes sense.
And often it's the thing that you think, am I nuts for thinking this? Or like, I am just off the wall for thinking this. And then you say it and you're like, oh, everybody gets this. We just feel so much better.
Absolutely. Speaking of relating, right, to each other and having that safe space, in BariNation, you've been a very active member, and I've gotten to know you pretty well. I even got to meet you in Dallas, which was so much fun. What have been some things that attending groups and meetup support groups, all of the things, what's helped you along your journey? Why do you keep going back and seeking community?
Yeah. So only recently have I been able to put words to it. Sometimes when you have a little space from something, but now that I'm about a year in, or almost a year in, I'm starting to understand the relentlessness of the bariatric life sometimes. I know personally I went in hearing, oh, the first year is so important and you have to get it all done and all this stuff. And so it feels like there's going to be a finish line and it's just a fix, and well, I'll just fix this and it'll be done. But now that I'm here, I'm like, oh, this is a lifestyle and this is the thing. But sometimes you've got it all on point, but sometimes it's tough to show up for yourself or show up for this process every day. And maybe there's a day where your movement's not on track or my eating's not on track or all the other things. But some way I can show up for myself is just by signing in. And some days maybe I don't even want to talk. Maybe I can just absorb kind of what everybody else is talking about, listening. And there's never any pressure to be on camera. I mean, Herb and Natalie, you guys host. I don't have to do that. There's days I can just show up and take it all in. But there's so many ways you have to show up for yourself throughout this process, or you want to. And some days those are harder than others. But the one that never feels hard and always feels like it fills my cup at the end of the day is just signing into a group and connecting with that community. And it's really nice at the end of the day if you feel, especially those days where you feel like, God, I just haven't done the movement, haven't done the meal prep, the this, the that. You're like, but I know I've showed up for myself in this way. And that's been the thing that really has been kind of that magic, right? Of God, you just feel so much better. I know Laura Grayba says it all the time, but community is treatment. And it's absolutely true. When you sign in, it's just another way to show up for yourself. It's just been so important this year.
I know that for myself, someone said something about this in a group that I hosted, that they appreciated that I would host, and then the next day I would attend, right, as a patient, and that's the beauty of BariNation, right? You can kind of just show up as you are, however you feel, bring whatever you'd like, say the scary things out loud. And there's a Zoom room full of people that are willing to support you, right? And to help guide you. I know that for me, it's been really fun to attend. I love attending Herb's Beginner Bariatric groups. You say it often, Herb, every day we're a beginner. And I just love that you say that so much.
We're brand new every day. Every day is a brand new beginning, right?
Absolutely.
I get so much out of those groups too. I think people think I'm just saying that, but truly hosting these beginner bariatric meetups, I get as much out of it, if not more, I think, than the folks who join those rooms sometimes. It's exactly what you said, Chris. Like, sometimes all of these components of our bariatric life seem like such rocket science. But what I think is rocket science is just the repetitive nature of it, right? Like, you just have to keep going because it is truly your life. It's not this year that you have to live or do this, or it's not this diet that you have to do, right? But having that room full of people online, virtually, that you can just drop in and listen or just hear the thing that you need to hear to remind yourself of what you need to do day to day is invaluable, I think.
And Herb, you can feel that in your group too. I usually say on there, I'm like, oh, this is my favorite way to kind of kick off the weekend and the week. But I mean it because everybody who walks in just feels like an old friend of yours. Obviously, I've had to meet Natalie. We've never met you in person, but it doesn't feel like that at all. So you do such a great job of just having an open door policy. And I love it also when someone says like, well, I don't want to take up all the time. And I think just recently you were like, I don't accept your apology. You're supposed to be able to take up space. Like, you owe that to yourself.
And I truly mean that. You know, we have spent all of our adult lives worried about taking up space, both physically and emotionally. You deserve to take up as much space as you want. If you want to show up to my beginner bariatric group and talk the whole hour, I may try to redirect you at some point so other people can inject, but you deserve to take up the space that you deserve to take up. And the other thing about, you know, I say this all the time, I'm sure you would say it, Chris, I'm sure you would say it, Nat, within the community, you could pick anyone out of that group and message them something, or like find someone in the phase that you're in and email them a question, or in a specific cohort that you might be in, and find someone to troubleshoot something or just celebrate something with. It's just wonderful, supportive place to be.
Absolutely. And I almost, especially being in the beginner year and beginner groups, I almost feel like there's a group of us that start together. It's almost like a class, that kind of the incoming class that comes through. So I do find myself messaging them, especially if, you know, we're in groups together for a month or so and then you haven't seen them for a while. You want to know what's going on with them. You're invested in their life and they in yours. So for sure.
Yeah, and you want to see them succeed, right?
Absolutely. Okay, I'm glad you touched on that because I don't know if I've ever been in a space that is so positive. Like, there's room for everyone to succeed and everyone's there not in a toxic positivity way, but in a truly wants to see everybody succeed in whatever way that means to you. If that means all of a sudden you're very into the movement pillar, great. We want to see you succeed in that. If that's not your thing and you're into the nutrition piece, great. We want to see you succeed. So whatever that means to you, totally positive. I've just never experienced a space like that, which is incredible.
You hit the nail on the head. I hate the concept of toxic positivity, and that's not what we provide here. At least I don't personally. Sometimes you need to hear the hard thing. Sometimes you need to hear the tough thing, but you can always talk about things in a way that's supportive and comforting and empowering, but still honest, right? Not sunshine and rainbows. Bariatric Beginning is not all sunshine and rainbows, as I think we can all attest.
Don't we wish though, right?
Right. Oh, it's so easy. It's the easy way out, right, Krista?
Yeah.
Somebody has mentioned that once or twice.
It really is an incredible space to be, and we've been saying that a lot in the community. We've been saying it a lot on the podcast. We just can be ourselves. I had a member who is going through a really hard time, brought that forward in one of my meetups. And she goes, I just don't understand how everyone's just so positive all the time. And I said, oh, we're not. It is hard. But just as you said, Herb, I think being able to talk about the hard things and kind of the tough love, right, in a supportive and warm way is a talent. And that's what a lot of our hosts like yourself and myself have worked really hard on, right? We want to make sure that that's a safe space for everyone.
Absolutely. Chris, can I put you on the spot for a second?
Please.
When you first joined, did you ever hesitate to click that join button on one of the groups?
Yeah, 100%. I still do.
And how do you get over that hurdle? Like what makes you brave to click join?
Maybe curiosity gets the best of me, or you know what it is. So this conversation is not indicative, but my true nature is I'm a fairly private person. And so the thought of stepping into a room with people you don't know, and especially since I've stayed mostly in the beginner bariatric groups because it feels like a safe place to start, and I'll tell you what kind of got me over the hump to start was that feeling of isolation. And even though, after I talked to people, I found out, someone in my life has had this before. And my sister's amazing. My friends are amazing, all that great stuff. But sometimes you just need somebody who totally relates and understands of your space and like your phase and where you're at. And that's what gets me to join. And just recently I've begrudgingly felt like I have to graduate out of the beginner groups and step a toe in the next group. So I joined the commitment group with Melanie this week, and it was great. But it's one of those situations where for me, it's not my nature to just jump in and talk to a bunch of, people that I may not know or may not know me. But I know what I'll find on the other side is that connection and just that sense of, you see me and I totally see you. And that's worth it. It's still a hesitation because it's not my nature, but it's totally worth it on the other side.
I love hearing that. And you always have a place in my meetup for sure. You don't ever have to graduate. And I'm not going to let you.
I appreciate it.
I know. I'm always kind of sad when like some of the beginners don't come back. I'm like, wait, but I still want to see you. I still want to know how you're doing. Because we create those bonds that are pretty deep for being an online platform. And I know meeting people in person after being in BariNation, it's like we've always known each other. Like we don't have the awkwardness. You don't have any of that. So I'm glad you brought that up too, that it really is just a warm space to grow and see each other grow in the space and in the community.
Absolutely. And I think also like there's a point where you almost feel personally, I feel like I've matured through a certain phase and I'm like, I think I just need something a little bit different also out of what I'm looking for. And so I know for me, the indicator it was really cool full circle moment, but also a moment of like, oh, I think I need to move on, was when I'm in some of the beginner groups and someone comes with very new, like either pre-op or recently post-op with certain concerns. And I find myself as being a person who's like, oh, I can offer perspective. And as much as I love to be that for someone, and that absolutely feels amazing, and I love to connect in that way, it also made me realize, okay, I probably need to provide that and be that person for other people. But then how am I going to help myself continue to grow? And that's when I decided, oh, I think I need to start checking out some of the like other groups and things like that.
Mm-hmm. So I have a question for both of you. So Chris, we'll start with you and then Herb. But what has been maybe a surprising, something surprising that you've learned, or like a tool? We talk about having our toolbox that you've acquired since joining BariNation or hosting BariNation. What's been something that you're kind of like, oh, huh, but also this is a really helpful piece of information, or this is a helpful perspective, and I'm going to utilize that.
I'll let Herb go first. I've done a lot of talking.
Oh, please. I have trouble narrowing it down to just one. Well, I'm going to do two. One, and they may be attributed to Laura Graybo. Shout out Laura. But one is I use all the time, and I learned it in one of her BariNation groups. It was just the power of the pause. Mm-hmm. When food plays such a crucial role in our life, and for me, it always has played the role of like a calmer or a placebo or something to like soothe, right? And so when I have that instinct that comes, and unfortunately bariatric surgery does not fix this. It fixes down here, but it doesn't fix up here. But if I just take the moment to pause and think about what is it that I really need this second, it's 9 times out of 10 or 19 times out of 20, not food. Like it's not that food item, right? And so that's been really powerful. And I do that almost every single day. The other thing that I would say is, as well, is just the idea of discovering what food means in your life pre-surgery, and then the lack of having the ability to play that same role. So finding things that fill that cup in positive ways, or almost having like a bariatric box of things like a coloring book, knitting needles, a piece of sheet music to play, a podcast to listen to. What is also going to satiate that whatever you have, instead of opening up the refrigerator or the cupboard or finding that thing. So those have been really powerful tools that are things that I've gotten directly from BariNation groups that are everyday tools that I've implemented in my life that have made me successful.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would second all of that. And then I would also say that what surprised me is it was really through this community, not only the community aspect, the peers, but then the experts that you guys bring on. I learned more about how obesity is a metabolic disease. That's not really a concept that had ever been introduced to me before. Mm-hmm. And I very much, again, not through until I went through this process, came to realize how much I associated with my weight with like a moral failing. And I didn't even realize that until I got into this. And that was a huge shift for me. And, I've just spent most of my life carrying shame about my body and having to take up space and all that other stuff. And it just allowed me to start letting go of some of that and understanding that I obviously do play a role, but that it's not just weakness and willpower. There's so many other things, hormones and metabolism and environment. And it just helped me begin to rewrite that narrative that I'd carried for so long. And that shift has not fixed everything, right? It's been there for decades now, and I'm trying to unwrite that. But it gave me a foundation to start healing emotionally and understanding it a little bit differently. And my brain is I enjoy scientific process, right? So I enjoyed understanding the science behind it and taking some of the emotion out of it.
I'm going to play beginner bariatric host and ask you, was that easy? Like, was that shift of switching from feeling like it's a moral failing to realizing obesity is a disease, has that been easy? does it stick? Like, do you have to keep reminding yourself of it? I'm leading the witness here a little bit, but.
Oh, no, it absolutely hasn't stuck. It's something I have to continue to come back to. And every now and then I'll realize a thought pattern or something I'm saying to myself. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so you guys, again, have all done calls and things with Dr. Griffiths. He's pretty unshakable, right? I mean, he's known for being a chill dude. I walked into my 6-month appointment being ahead of where I was supposed to be, all the things. And the thing that I wanted to talk about was, I think I need to do a revision. Like, this is just, you know what I mean? So it's just like, my brain is not there yet. And I'm working very hard to balance it out, but no, it doesn't switch overnight. I'd be curious about you guys too, because I have to imagine you've had similar conversations with yourself over the years.
Every day. Really, every day I catch, and I'm coming on 5 years, and it's my 3rd bariatric surgery, and I still, every single day, I go, whoa, that was an old Natalie thought, or that was an old habit that just played out.
And Natalie, with your revisions, how does that play into it? Like that feeling, you've had a very different experience with that of, hey, let's do this again.
There was a lot of time in between, almost 10 years. So this kind of, in some ways, feels like my first time, just because of the nature of it all. I was pretty young with my first 2 surgeries. So I still kind of feel like, again, I think my lesson or my piece that I've taken, I think about being a beginner every single day. I really do. I think about, okay, I'm new at this. I've never lived this life on this day, in this body ever before. And how can I do my best? How can I be kind to myself? Right? Like it's everything is for me and to take care of me first, and then everything else can follow. But that's been years of work and practice and attending groups myself and listening to other members and hosts like yourselves. We talk a lot about taking pieces of people's recipes to add to your own, right? And I've just been doing that every day. I think, oh, what Chris just said actually could work for me. I'm going to try that out and see if that thought pattern or that direction shift works out for me. Herb mentioned this in a group the other day. I'm gonna try out this recipe instead and see how I do. So I think it's, again, getting curious. That's our word for the year in BariNation, and I think that's just how we should live every single day, is curious.
We're brand new every single day we wake up.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, guys. I'm going to take that away tonight.
Yeah, write it down.
Well, especially when we talked earlier with the relentlessness and feeling like, oh, it's Groundhog Day. It's just a really nice reframe to, the whole thing.
Yeah, it can feel like Groundhog Day. I just talked about that this week too. It can feel monotonous and boring because you are doing a lot of the same things every day. But also I was doing the same things every day before, right? So it's not that different, really. It's just having the different perspective. And that's something, again, that I've learned, shouting out Laura Graybo. I've learned a lot from her on how to reframe my thoughts. And it's still not perfect. I don't think it'll ever be perfect. But at least I can be a beginner every single day and try it again and again and again. Well, my friends, this has been a wonderful conversation. I'm going to ask you both a final question. It's a little bit silly, but it's kind of a running joke here on the BariNation podcast. Are you team pumpkin spice latte before, like all year round, before fall, or is it strictly fall only?
Chris?
I don't drink coffee.
Oh,
So I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't know.
This podcast is in the trash now. Jason also does not drink coffee, but he has been. So if you were to, I guess, fall flavors, but really pumpkin spice, is it all year round, before fall, or fall only?
I do appreciate it in fall because it feels like we're getting into something and, brings fall in. Yeah, I don't understand why you'd want pumpkin in July.
All right.
I have very strong feelings on this, and you do you. If you want pumpkin spice in February, that is your right. Don't ick someone else's ish. You can have pumpkin spice whenever you want. Good luck finding it in the winter, though.
Yeah.
Is that your true feelings, though? Because I feel like you spoke to me and I swayed you.
Hey, if you can find pumpkin spice latte in March, go for it.
I wish. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you both for spending time with me today to just talk about BariNation and all of the good stuff that we get into there. Is there any final words that you would love to leave our listeners with if they're maybe thinking about joining BariNation or on the fence about having surgery? What would you tell our listeners? Chris, I'll go with you and then Herb.
Yeah, I think, the same thing I started with. It feels like a lot, but just showing up is the most important thing you can do day after day. And the great thing is when you have a partner in a community like BariNation, sometimes showing up is just logging on and listening and taking it in. You can be as active as you want. On the other hand, that can be showing up for yourself every day. So just continue to show up for yourself, whatever that means for you. And I encourage you to join us because it's just another way to fill your cup and show up for yourself.
I would tell folks, imagine what you could do if you knew you weren't going to fail. That goes for bariatric surgery or anything really. And live in that mindset, right? Just think about all the possibilities that exist. And I think being a member of BariNation helps you see that. You can see, I don't like the term role models, but you can see other people who have lived this path, right? In the various ways they've been successful in doing it. All three of our stories are very different, and we're all very successful because of different aspects of our journey. And like Nat said, you can pick and choose those things or those ingredients that are going to make your recipe successful as a bariatric patient. And I would be far poorer as just an individual, let alone being a bariatric individual, if I was not a part of BariNation. I'm so grateful every single day that I get to interact with folks in the community that just get it. And literally any time of the day I could log on and talk with someone if something's on my mind. So that's what I would say.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for joining. And if you are listening, thinking about joining BariNation, thinking about having surgery, you're on the fence, Herb and I both lead Beginner Bariatrics Meetups. So there's 2 a week. I host on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Herb, you lead on Fridays at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. I did it. The times. So there's 2 opportunities for you, 2 different hosts, 2 wonderful groups to join and just ask the questions, get curious, and to be welcomed into a pretty awesome community, if I do say so myself.
Just click the button. Don't be afraid.
Just click join. All right, you guys, we'll see you again next week on the podcast. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
That wraps up another empowering episode of the BariNation podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, keep the conversation going by joining the BariNation membership community, where you can attend live support events, access on-demand resources, and find a caring community.
Join us at barination.mn.co. If you found this podcast valuable, help us produce it by becoming a $5 monthly supporter at barinationpodcast.com.
And just remember, at the end of the day, you've got this, we've got you, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.